Yeah, this is Ben. You checking out L7.
Yeah, right.
On the L train right now at the Tip of Manhattan.
Hell yeah.
Totally independent. Fiercely pursuing accountability on policy and implementation. It's time for another DJ L7 candidate interview.
My name is Chuck Park, and I'm running for Congress.
It doesn't matter how hard we work, we're still spinning out trying to pay the rent, the grocery bill, and the hospital bills. And instead of fixing the system, our leaders prop it up, because the same system that keeps them in power is the system that's keeping us down.
Yo, what's up? DJ L7, New York City's #1 street actor. We got Chuck Park, actually a Korean American running for Grace Meng. See, I'm telling you right now, Grace Meng is an embarrassment to Asian Americans. First of all, look at her number one contributor. Yeah, I'm not nothing against Jewish people, straight up, but IPAC is her #1 contributor, more than the next 40 contributors combined, and she receives no money, no outstanding donations from any Asian American groups. She's not serving Asian Americans. Plus, if she's for sale for one foreign group, she'll be for sale to another. She put Linda Sun, a Chinese spy, into the U.S. government. Meanwhile, this guy over here has served at a high level, a Korean American. You know what I mean? Yo, respect. I'm out here to join the squad. Hey.
I'm here to fight for Queens. I love these communities, born in Flushing, raised between Jackson and Heights. I love these neighborhoods, I love these streets. More than anything, I want to represent you. I want to work hard for New York City. So thank you so much.
Yo, what's up? DJ L7 here. As you know, I'm motivating candidates all over the place now. This is actually a candidate I'm very interested in. Can you introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? My name is Chuck Park. I'm running for Congress right here in the 6th Congressional District, the beating heart of Queens, New York City. I'm in front of Flushing Library. I'm doing something called Ask Me Anything in Real Life. So come through.
Okay. So right now, what's your background? Like, I think that you also served as a foreign affairs under the Obama administration. So you've been pretty high up there. What's your qualification?
Yeah, so real quick, look. I was born in Flushing Hospital. My Koreans came. My parents were Korean immigrants. They worked the street vendors. They hustled their butts off, raised 5 of us. And I grew up, eventually became a U.S. diplomat under President Obama. And I worked in Mexico and Washington, D.C. for a bit. Lisbon, Portugal, and Vancouver, Canada. And I quit when Trump first won because I saw how he was destroying the American dream. He was attacking immigrants, separating families, just undermining American values.
Explain why you decided to resign.
Sure. So let me start off by saying this is absolutely a personal decision for me. It was really difficult for me. If you're a concerned American and you're hoping that some unelected official somewhere or a cabal of civil servants somewhere will resist this president and fight his policies from within the government, then you will be disappointed.
You never saw any resistance or deep state?
I certainly saw people's personal reservations. I never saw a deep state.
The president often says, in the prior administration, people around the world were laughing at us. No one's laughing at us now. Is that your experience? Because in my travels overseas, I hear a lot of laughter, and it's not like laughing with us.
I'm gonna be a little cute and respond to that. So it's really, I've been in meetings where people didn't know that I was the US diplomat in the room, and it's really interesting to hear what other nations say about us behind our backs when they think we're not listening. And it's not all positive.
Next question is going to be, some people have people trying to get to know who you are. They may not have known you before. The thing is that sometimes people are defined by political ideology. We know that Zoran actually got elected recently. He's a Democrat socialist, whatever that means. And sometimes there's capitalism versus socialism, but people can still say conservatism versus, there's different models. So to help people understand what you are, do you have any political labels that might help describe or understand what your philosophy is?
Yeah, look, I'm running as a Democrat, but before we get into labels and ideologies, let me say this. So many people are trying to distract us. They're trying to tell us, hey, you know why your life is hard? You know why you're struggling? It's because of those immigrants. Or it's because of those racist white people who don't like you. They're making us look left and right to blame each other for our problems. But you know what? I think that the undocumented Latino worker in New York City has a lot in common with the unemployed auto worker in Dearborn, Michigan. And instead of looking left and right, we need to look up. Because you know who's screwing us over? It's the billionaire corporate class. Okay? Well, we're down here working, struggling, scraping to get by. You got people up there, and again, up there is bipartisan up there, bipartisan billionaires giving themselves tax breaks, and they take those billions that they get from tax breaks, pump it back into the political system in the form of donations, whether it's corporate PAC donations, it's foreign interest PAC donations, and they put a political establishment in power that just keeps that cycle going. And so up there, they're living large. They're hanging out on Epstein's Island. They're enriching themselves with insider trading in Congress. And we're down here looking left and right, blaming each other. Man, we have so much in common down here. We could have a better life if we could just get rid of those guys up there.
So that sounds like two things. It sounds like you might be a populist. Would you say that's not really?
I'm of the people. That's the root. That's the root of populist. So yeah, I'm of the people for sure.
And I really like what you said about helping out the little people outside. For the little people, thank you so much. Yeah, a lot of the candidates get distracted by the people with means to kind of fund their campaigns, like your candidate, like your opponent right here for the primary, Grace Meng. Oh, disgusting. Let's go to the next question right here. Now the thing is that sometimes people are influenced, by certain. Is there anybody who influences your leadership or politics style? Maybe it's like for me, it's Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Maybe for yourself, right? People are influenced by FDR, right? They say they're a real Democrat. You said a Democrat earlier. Maybe Bernie Sanders. What is your influence as in terms of?
Look, my influence is, I gotta say it, I don't say it every single time. My influence is on my mom and my dad. They came here with nothing. They left a Korea that was under a military dictatorship. They landed in Queens, New York City in the 80s. And they came here looking for one thing: safety and work. They worked their butts off. They built a life here. They grinded it out just like everybody does in this city. They built a family, they built a community. That's what built a country. That's all of our story. That's my insight. I channel that, and that's what I want to protect. The Ice Rage, man, they're trying to destroy our story. So the first thing we got to do is protect ourselves, defend ourselves. And after we defend ourselves, we got to go on offense. We got to build a better life for working people like my parents, probably like your parents, like you. And that starts with free healthcare. Every other developed country in the world does it. How about some free childcare? How about some paid parental leave? How about some free daycare? How about 3K and 4K, not just in New York City, but across the country? We could do all of that. We got the money for it. Instead of spending nearly $1 trillion on a war machine to blow up fishermen in the Caribbean, to blow up kids in Gaza, we could be using those billions to build a healthcare system, a childcare system, an immigration system that works. And I think that's what my priority is.
I appreciate that, and much respect to the park legacy right there, yeah? Now the thing is that, let's go on to the next question, which is, just, all my campaign questions are the same. At the end I might ask some other ones, but I'm going to keep you within this, the confines of this interview right here. Next question is, there's a lot of candidates who come to the game with different levels of experience. Some of them say, I've never been a politician before. Some of them say, they've already won several times, something like that. Sometimes people say, when I ask this question, they'll say, the question is, what are you most proud of accomplishing? They'll say, my kids. I'm going to ask you to keep the question, the answer to something that's more management related or something directly related to this job. You know what I mean? So, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
Just said, can't see your kids, but I got to say my kids.
I'm not mad. It happened before.
No, but let me tell you. Let me get
you can make the
deeper.
case. Go ahead.
Look, I have 2 kids. I have a 13-year-old son in 8th grade. I also have a 4-year-old daughter. And I want to focus for just a second on my daughter. She turned 4 this summer, but she wasn't always my daughter. I've always loved her. She wasn't always my daughter. I'm a foster parent. We got her as a little baby, 6 months old. She came from a loving Chinese couple who were struggling. They were struggling, and for some reason, they couldn't have a safe home for her. And so she was put in the foster care system. She ended up in my home with my wife. Fell in love with her. And the parents, they struggled. This is bittersweet for me, but they couldn't create that safe home. And at the same time, my wife and I fell in love with this little girl. And after 3 years of foster parents, we were finally able to adopt her. It makes me emotional because I love her so much. You see it. But also, I know her parents love her. I know her mom and dad or biological, they love her. I don't know where they are, but I know they love her too. I'm proud that I'm able to give her a home of safety. Yeah. But I'm also really sad that her parents are gone. And being real right now. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that's my proudest thing.
Yeah.
That's the proudest thing I've done that I can do,
man. Hey, man, that's good. That means a lot to you, man. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Now we're actually headed out. The first half of the interview is asking about you as a candidate. Next half is asking about your policies. Now the thing is that right now I usually put I ask questions for my partners, disabled, wrongfully incarcerated, stuff like that. But this year I'm going to ask my question first, my own personal thing, right? And this is we're going to cycle it back and forth. I like put my friends first, but you got to have balance, right? So the first one is we take a look at the United States, and we can see there's a lot of other countries that are impacting our politics, donating a lot of money. We look at actually your opponent, Grace May. Actually, IPAC gives her so much money that's more than the next 40 contributors combined, and she receives no outstanding money from Asian Americans. What are you going to do, right? You're running for a federal position, House of Representatives. What are you going to do to protect our country from foreign influence or even domestic influence that is harmful? Or, IPAC gets away with it because they say they're not really a foreign influence. But come on.
I'm going to give you the short answer and long. Short answer, I'm taking $0 from APAC, I'm taking $0 from corporate PACs, I'm taking $0 from lobbyists. Big money is corrupting our politics. Right? So I'm taking 100% contributions from real, live human beings. That is I want to run a clean campaign because it matters not just what you do when you're in office, but how you get into that position. So zero APAC dollars, zero corporate PAC, zero lobbyists. And one other thing I'll say is, look, I'm Korean, okay? Korean American.
Yeah. Hey, quick question though. You speak Korean?
Is
that your first language?
So my first language is Korean because my grandma.
Your English is excellent, but you also serve other countries. You also speak Spanish and other languages as well?
I speak Spanish, I speak some Portuguese. I got some Korean, obviously. I got some English, and I'm learning trying to get better at some Mandarin. So
Spanish is very important for this community. It's very cool that you have the international and respected.
But what I want to say is, look, I'm a Korean American. I would never, ever take $1 million from a South Korea friendship pact. I mean, I think it's a basic conflict of interest. You're going to represent the most diverse community in the world. We got Korean, Chinese, Ecuadorian, Venezuelan, Israeli, Jewish people, Pakistani, Afghan. You can't sole source your money from one particular foreign interest because that's disrespectful to this diverse, beautiful community that you're supposed to represent. So as a Korean, I would never take money from just a South Korean friendship pact because that's not representative of the district. I think it's a basic conflict of interest, and I think you see that conflict of interest manifests itself in the policies that people supported by APAC choose to support.
Okay. The next question I'm going to ask for is for my people that have been wrongfully incarcerated. I know you're running in Queens. Shout out to my guy, Reverend Keith Gadsden. Shout out to my guy, Nolan Farrell. Shout out to also Otis Johnson, my friends in other parts of the nation, like my guy, Ronald Long, who's in Death Row, New Jersey. There's some people that have been provably wrongfully incarcerated. Okay? And the thing is that some places, these people, now just Texas, that's Republican, they will kill you. They do have the death penalty. But they also have the best exoneration rate and the best compensation. If you've been wrongfully incarcerated in Texas, their rule is that you get $50,000 for every year that you were wrongfully incarcerated. Now, I think that's kind of low, but still, that's the best compensation program in the nation. Right now in Pennsylvania, my friends in Pennsylvania, there's no compensation program at all for people that have been wrongfully incarcerated. Would you support some form of financial compensation for people that have been provably wrongfully incarcerated?
If you are provably wrongfully incarcerated, if the government and the state has taken away your freedom unjustly, I would absolutely support compensation for those lost years of your life.
Really appreciate it. It's really cool to you. Let me talk about the next group that I work with, the disabled. Now the thing is that a lot of disabilities activism occurs around people in wheelchairs, because the thing is that they don't have the same communication barriers as people who are deaf-blind. Now the thing is that right now we're trying to get funding for something called the Co-Navigator program. The thing is that the people here that are, have these stores right here up and down Flushing on Northern Boulevard, right? Sometimes the thing is that people who are deafblind goes into the store and they can't really communicate with the person. Just we know that these stores sometimes have CPR devices, right? They can also have maybe a device where they can interact with people who are, and maybe the government can help fund this. devices so they can actually communicate through a deaf line, so they can actually buy and make use of the services. Would you support a co-navigator program for the deaf blind?
Look, the Americans with Disabilities Act passed more than a generation. Our country is supposed to provide the same services, the same ability for someone with a disability to live a full, meaningful, fully engaged life just like anybody else. Unfortunately, we're not meeting that standard, and I get it. You know, for a small business, you know, my parents right now they own a small business. They can't afford. They don't even know how to set up some of the accessibility services that they would love to do if they knew how, if they had the resources.
Yeah.
I think I would support. I'd love to learn more about this.
Absolutely.
I think I would support government funding to help small businesses do this, because I think every single store owner would willingly do that. We welcome every single person of all nations, backgrounds, and disabled or not. And so if they only had the help, if they only knew how they could welcome even more people, I think they could help do that. So, that means government support. I think we need to government support.
Thank you so
One
much.
more
Yeah. The next group that I work with the people in public housing. Now we know that during the Obama era, they actually ended public housing as we know it. But you know that it protects our most vulnerable and veterans, people with elderly, people with disabilities. Would you support, and actually the United States is one of the countries without developed countries without access to the public housing system. Would you as a federal, elected official down support public housing for public housing?
Yeah, so let me say this. Housing is human right. Housing is human right. The government Democrats, I'm looking at the Democrats. Democrats used to be the party of builders. Going back to the 60s, we had the New Deal, Great Society, we had Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. That was all us. And we stopped it. One thing that FDR did, you see these huge housing developments all the way down to New York City that are still standing there. Queensbridge, Ravenswood, Red Hook housing. Almost all of that was built 100 years ago under FDR. He unlocked thousands and thousands and thousands of units of housing. Back then it was for working class, middle class, New York. We haven't done anything on this scale. I think it's time to consider policies and programs that can unlock that kind of ambition, large-scale housing for working people, not just in New York City, but across the country.
All right, the next group that I'm going to ask about, and I know earlier I told you I wasn't Republican, so you might be shocked about this, but another group I've been working with a long time in Westport is the trans community. I know it's shocking, but just so you know, actually, I'm not even going to ask him the question. But anyway, so the thing is that you know that trans people face. Now this is a hypothetical question, also to understand how you problem solve. So we know that trans people face a lot of job discrimination, housing discrimination. Sorry it happens. I understand why it happens. Not saying I'm for it, but the thing is that let's suppose that the 10% of people applying for public housing are trans. Okay. Then we do a study inside of public housing. We find that only 1% of the people in public housing are trans. Go to talk to people, the trans people go to them and say, why do you think this is happening? They say we're getting beat up, we don't want to stay here. When we try to apply for the public housing, my friend applies and it's not going through. We think there's discrimination going on. There's even laws saying you can't discriminate against trans people, but you can see it's still going on. You have these numbers. How are you, now some people might say, let's take all the trans people and put them in one building. That would be like gentrification. Can you imagine put all the black people put them in one building? People would be like, that's highly controversial. Quotas, almost nobody supports them. I've asked this question many times over many years to many candidates. I can't even say 5% of them support quotas. If I said, let's break 10% of the housing and make sure to bring the number back to 10%. But how are you going to use the numbers, right? Like those numbers mean something. How are you going to assure this community their access to government services?
You don't have to be talking to them. A human being, they have rights. Okay? Like imagine if we substitute that word for, if we said black people were applying for housing.
I understand. But what do you do?
If we were saying that, and we were saying that they were facing that level of disparity, discrimination, or seat of public service, there would be enough.
I mean, but you also have these percentage things, like, and what do you do about those numbers, like the 1/10?
So I just look at the data. This is what I'll say. If those numbers are accurate, I think there could be basic accountability to do with audit. See, why is this happening? How there are reviews that could be done, the volume of applications coming in, how they're being reviewed, and why is it the fact that if 10% of applicants are trans applicants, and then only 1% of people who actually end up in that housing are those same people, then something's being lost. Something's being lost.
So you would definitely investigate.
I'll definitely look for some kind of accountability. I think that's good government. Transparency. I think in any service is good, basic good government.
That's a solid answer. Okay. The next question that I'm going to ask is actually, I don't know if you ever heard of something called the right to repair?
No, tell me more.
Okay. So the thing is that nowadays they're trying to move a lot of stuff to subscription model where you don't get to own your own property. And the thing is that, okay, so right to repair was a fight that was already fought for cars. Let's suppose that your car's, it's time for you to need an oil change. Back in the day, they would say you got to go specifically to the dealership where you bought the car to get your oil change. But thanks to right to repair laws, now you can go to any shop and get it. So now we take it to the phones, right? And now you got to go to an authorized Apple dealership. There's a new, goal of industry to try to monopolize, right, your devices and control. So you could see that actually the military, they recently had, Biden had to make an exception because they were getting engaged in predatory contracts, right to repair contracts. They said, you're not allowed to fix the material, so they would have to wait. There's also been big wins for the farmers, like John Deere. Now the tractors are very complex, and the country has no incentive to send out the person to repair right away. Meanwhile, the crop needs to be harvested now. So the farmers are taking big losses. You just see the McDonald's. You wonder why the ice cream machines never been working. That's because, once again, they're trapped in a predatory right to repair contract. So if you need to find out more, that's fine. But I think that explain well, you start to get it from business going on.
You're saying what context?
Well, really trying to fight big tech overreach, right? Yeah, like, can I take my phone to any? Yeah. When I buy the phone, do I own it? Yeah.
You own your phone. When I drop my phone like anybody else on the street, I don't want to have to go to the Apple store and pay hundreds of more dollars. But I can go to my corner guy who has a penny screwdriver and can fix it for $100. So I think we have a right. That's what the right to repair. I totally support it. For some reason, whether it's business or politics, you get these companies, maybe they make a great product or service, they win. And then once they win, all of a sudden they want to change the rules to lock themselves in power, whether it's economic power or political power. They change the rules to lock themselves in forever after. And that's unfair. So go win, go fight your battle and take your money or win your election. But don't try to lock yourself in and kill your competition. Ultimately, you're working for your customers, you're working for the people. And so, right to repair sounds like a no-brainer. As someone who has broken many phone screens, and I like going to my local corner guy to fix my screen. I don't want to go to the Apple.
Appreciate that, yeah. The last question for my partner, then we can talk about our own issues, right? But the thing is, I also students have been victims of administrator abuse. Now the thing is that, right, we actually had a U.S. presidential candidate earlier say, when students are given, when the federal government gives money to schools, we give it to them so that they can give these students degrees so we can have productive members of society, not to determine their politics. But we see now that, university administrations are taking draconian measures to silence unions or, which has nothing to do with academic, performance. So there's other issues that get involved in terms of like academic abuse of students. So I've asked for a meeting between myself, another academic Corey Edens, and the CUNY chancellor, and also the Hunter College president to talk about the issue of public forum discussion. We support a public meeting between myself, Corey Edens, and the Hunter College president, and also the CUNY chancellor. I appreciate that. Again, we want a public meeting between myself, Corey Edens, with the CUNY chancellor, and the Hunter College president.
I think, just going back to the premise of your question, I think the university should be the places where you teach kids how to think, start free thought, open discussion, open debate, and That has changed. For some reason, universities are scared and didn't start with what's happening now under Trump. He's threatening and retaliating against universities. But even before that, somewhere along the way, universities and college campuses became this space where you can no longer speak your mind, you no longer have these open, transparent discussions, and really, teach kids, young kids, how to think. So we lost our way somewhere. I would totally support having universities return to being places of thought, debate.
By the way, when you guys, Korean Americans love school. So when you're talking about school stuff, you guys should definitely consult with us. That's what's up. Just got 3 more questions for you, okay? So the thing,
3 more.
Well, I'll talk maybe afterwards, right? 3 more in the cycle. So the first one's gonna be I talked about all the questions for myself and my partner. You have any particular specialties that you come in to job with that are policies that you want to tap into, right?
Yeah, so look, I'll keep hitting my top 3 policies. The first thing, for anybody who reps any part of New York City, and I want to rep Queens, the leading part of New York City, the most important thing anybody with any platform can do now, politician or otherwise, is defend us against these ISIS destroying families that's ripping up our dreams and our community. So we need to stand up and fight back however we can against it. After we defend ourselves, we need to go on offense. And there's 2 key things I want to do on offense to make life better for the working people of this city and the whole country. 1, we need universal health care, single payer. We need to make healthcare, vision, dental, hearing available to every single human person, not tied to your job and having to beg your boss for a good insurance plan. It should be tied to you as a human being in this country. You have health care. No co-pays, no deductibles, no premiums. You should just have a right to that. That's number 1. Universal health care. Number 2, child care. I got kids. My parents had 5 kids. And my grandma raised them. Both my parents were out working 10, 11, 12 hours a day. My grandma was home with us. We were lucky in that way. She still worked her butt off to change our diapers, give us baths, cook lunch, dinner for us, do the laundry. Families need help. Children were quite literally, are literally the future of our city, our nation, our world. And we need sane child care in this country. Every other developed country does things like paid parental leave. We need 24 weeks of paid parental leave. We need a universal child care income. I want to give $500 checks every single month per child to parents. We did something like it during COVID. It worked incredibly well. We brought millions of kids out of poverty. Parents are having help paying the rent and the mortgage. We can do it again. We already did it. We can do it again.
Fulton, what's up, baby?
So,
Fulton, come say what's up.
healthcare and childcare.
He's scared.
And then let me get the last question, and then I'll talk to my point.
Two questions. Yeah, 2 questions. But they're kind of related. Hey, look, you've been a really great candidate. Really appreciate this interview. How can people find out more about you? Got a website or something?
Chuck for Queens. Chuck4Queens.com. Chuck for Queens on Instagram, on Twitter. Find me.
That's F-O-R, not the number 4, right? F-O-R.
F-O-R. Find me in the real world.
Last question. Now that people know how to find your stuff, what they got to look forward to? You got any events coming up? You got what?
I got some town halls. I'm gonna hit the ground hard. I'm gonna hit the field. I'm gonna knock on doors starting just a few weeks. Follow me. Find out the schedule there. For now, if you're around Flushing today, man, I'm in downtown Flushing in front of the library all day.
That's right. Let's go.
All right, fine.
I'm here. All right. Thanks a lot. God bless.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ Elf7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
Truth of these
We
words
are on all
is
the
beyond
major
doubt.
platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Dailymotion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.